Good morning, my wonderful YouTubers. How are you? Hey, thanks for joining in. This is the Virginia Bushcrafter. And as you know, this is the channel where we continuously learn and we practice the skills of bushcrafting, prepping, and survivaliveness in the wilderness. So guys, I am out here in Mother Nature, slight drizzling in the great northern Virginia. But today I want to continue where I left off, and that is practicing my knife skills. Now in the previous video I showed you the notches that I had made at my residence. But I'm out here in the bush today and I'm going to be working with some wood that is really wet. If you notice, the ground is wet, but that will not stop us from training. So what we're going to do now is actually go get us a nice stick that we're going to make out of a tri-stick, and we are going to sit down and go through each knot as thoroughly as we can. So let's get situated. Let's go find a nice stick so that we can get to work. All right guys, so it is actually now time to practice our basic tri-stick notches. Now again, the purpose of practicing these notches is to improve your knife skills. So I have found a nice piece of wood here. I think this is sufficient. It's large, and I'll be able to show this to you much better. And the knife that I am using today, it is a Condor Wayfinder. Now Condor is a product of El Salvador. This blade is, I believe it's 5 inches, and it is called a spear point. And you're going to see why I chose this particular knife, even though with any other bushcraft knife or any other knife, the task of notches should be accomplishable. So I'm going to use this knife, which is a Scandinavian grind, and we're going to go from there. So let me put on the gloves, come back, put you in focus, and we're going to start. All right guys, so the first notch that I am going to make is known as the L7, and the purpose of the L7 is basically a tent stake, or if you want to say a tent peg. So the first thing that I'm going to do is make a backstop. Now you can take your knife and you can rock it back and forth, but I'm going to use a baton to do so. And I'm going to baton maybe 1/3 of the way. So as you can see, it is batoned here. I'm going to go a little further. I'll go just a bit more. Okay, now removing this, just roll the wood. It comes loose. So now you may see that here's a cut here. Now what I'm going to do is take the knife from this cut and fold it over from this point, and that gives me plenty of working room. So what I'm going to do now is use the fine inch part of the blade and use push cuts. Let's see if you can see. Just take so much wood at a time. And we just heard a tree fall. I'm sure with the ground being so wet, and you can somewhat just clean it up by rocking the knife. But what I'm going to do is make this deeper. Roll it and continue. And this is why it's good to always keep a sharp knife. Now, if you notice, when I cut, I'm always cutting at the next angle. And these are push cuts. Clean it up every so often. Yeah, it's been raining here a lot. And so the ground is very saturated and wet. And I'm sure that was a very old tree, which lets me know there's more pine wood around here. I'm going to clean it up. Just a bit more. It's not something that you want to rush. I'm hoping not to get rained on, but if I do, I'm well protected. So guys, this is the L7. Again, this is used for notches. It's up a little bit more. I will say that I like the fact that this is a spear point blade. Here I'm just rocking. For this portion, I'm using the stronger part of the blade. And here we have an L7. The next notch is going to be a pot hanger. So what I'm going to do is make an X, take a 45-degree angle, I'm going to go just a little bit more. I'm going to rock it outward. Go to the other end. Do the same thing. I am basically making an X. And just rock it out. Okay, now you can see the sections here, and I'm going to remove this section, and this section. I'm going to start again with a push cut. And if you notice, these other two ends, some will just pop out. And here is one reason why I like the spear point. Let's see if you can see this. I'm using the strong part of the blade here. I'm going to remove some more wood here. These do take practice, and here again, this is why it's called a tri-stick. It's moving a little wood at a time. We're just about there. And again, when using your knife, you want to keep the knife out of the blood circle. If you notice, my elbows are staying very close to my knees. This is probably the most difficult one. Because when you're cooking with it, you definitely do not want your pot to fall with the food in it. So I think I need to get just a tad bit more out of the front. And the good thing that I like when actually practicing in the field, for some reason it just feels more satisfying than doing this at home. So here, I'm just going to remove a tad bit of wood. Here again is why I like the spear point. However, these tasks are accomplishable with any knife. Maybe not as well. All right, guys. There you have it, a pot hanger. The hanger will hang right in here. So the next one that I'm going to do is a V-knot. Now, a V-knot, as I explained yesterday, is basically to tie cordage. So I'm going to start off with a 45-degree angle. And this is actually hardwood that I'm using. A V-knot, 45-degree angle from the other side. And we just start to remove the metal. I think I'm going to make this just somewhat deeper. Will you be perfect doing this your first time? I doubt it. This is why it's called practice. This is why it's called a tri-stick. I've got that pretty well formed. So now it's just a matter of cleaning it out. I hope I can put you guys in focus here. I'll turn it around. Let's see if you can. Again, guys, it's very, very important to have a sharp knife. A knife that feels good in your hand, has great contour, great swell. Here is your V-notch. The next one I'm going to make is a saddle. And also the V-notch is used for cordage. Now the saddle is basically for construction of a log cabin or slash your shelter. I think I can get this somewhat deeper. Okay, we just roll this out and we start to remove the material. Again, using push cut. We start on one side in a circular motion. Now, strangely, with this section, it is a knot, but it's still doable. And as you know, when there's a knot, that is just where wood is twisted. It's where a branch was coming out. As you can see how it's starting to form. This one is again somewhat just slightly some difficulties because I did cut it right in the midst of a knot. However, with good tools and knowing how to use those tools, easily overcome that. Again, I'm using push cuts. My thumb. I'm going to clean this up somewhat. I think I can just make this a little bit more of a saddle. And now you have a saddle notch. And again, this would represent a log. Well, I'll show you later. A log that would fit in here, and a log would go over it. The next knot is going to be a log cabin knot. And its purpose is to make a log cabin, to help construct a log cabin. So here again, 90-degree angle. And I recommend, if this is your first time trying it, use green wood instead of hardwood. Again, just roll it out. I'm going to go deeper. Okay, roll it rather than twisting your knife. And basically start again with a push cut. I'm using the finer tip of the blade. Just cutting to the stop point. Each time at a different angle. Push cut all the way to the stop point. Hope you guys can see me. Push nut all the way to the stop point. Clean it up. I'll remove some more. I'm somewhat protected from the rain because I'm under some trees. I'm using the strong portion of the blade here. Turn it around. Same thing, push cut all the way to the wall. Gonna need some leverage here. I don't know if you guys can. I'm going to improve this to make it somewhat quicker. When you're practicing, you will find things to improve as you're doing this. Improving that stop cut makes this a lot easier. Going to improve this side. There we have it. Log cabin cut. So again, we have an L7 for stakes, a pot hanger, a V-knot for tying up, a saddle notch for building a shelter, a log cabin knot for building a shelter, and the next one is going to be a rotation notch. So what I'm going to do, guys, real quick is just clean these up. That's the saddle knot cleaned up a little bit. The V-knot. Okay, so the next one will be a rotation knot. Go all the way around, 360 degrees on this one. We score at that side. I'm going to try to stay away from that knot. Do the same here. I think another reason to come out in the bush and practice is because you find out things are not level. So that does make a difference. Okay, so if you notice, I've scored this 360 all the way around, and now it's basically push knots all the way around. Here I'm using the finer part of the blade. For some reason it just works better. Again, the majority of these are thumb push. Now that the bark is removed, it becomes much easier. Again, cutting on angles. And again, this notch is good for spindles, for making bow drills, fishing reels, rolling up cordage. Turn it over, do the other side. Here I'm utilizing the entire blade, especially when I get to the stop cut. Each time you practice this, it should become easier. And here comes the rain again. That's fine. So quickly I want to show you that is the rotation notch. Used for bow drills, spindles, anything that is circular, fishing reels and so forth. So I'm going to clean these notches up. We're going to come back and talk further about them. guys, so I've taken the knife all the way through. So my next task, as you can see, what I'm doing is putting the knife in the side and just removing wood in the middle. And I'm using the spear point of the blade. You don't want to split the wood, you want to remove wood from the middle. You want to do this on both sides. And I can even use push cuts to help me remove this wood. I don't want to split the wood, I want to remove the wood. So I'm going to remove what I need to be removed, and we'll come back and actually have a demonstration. So guys, what I've done on the inside of this is actually removed wood to give me space. You don't split it, you remove it. So I'm going to remove a small bit more by taking the spear point of the blade, inserting, and pulling away. And pulling the wood backwards. As you can see, so for a quick here's part of a branch. Let's just see. I think this one is actually too large, but it does remove bark. But I think I need a someone's feeding their horse, but as you can see how it removes the bark. I think once I dig a fire pit, I will run into some root and we can use this. So again, guys, quickly, an L7 notch used for basically tent pegs or tent stakes. A V-knot used for tying cordage. A saddle notch for building a log cabin. Here is a square log cabin notch and a rotation notch that can be used for spindles, anything that's circular, fishing reel, and so forth. And at the end, we have a vine/root stripper. And again, guys, this is the purpose of a bushcraft knife. One of the purposes is actually carving. And a way to improve that, sure, practice at home, but come out into the bush where things are not level, things are not even. You're dealing with different elements, hearing different sounds, trees falling, squirrels all the time, not a problem, some turkeys, but this is the knife that I use. So I'm going to go ahead and build something to make a meal that is going to be suspended, and we'll come back and have a chat. All right, guys, I have completed all the notching. The next thing to do is prepare a meal, but I want to show you the tools that I have used so far today. And first one is a saw, an S-wing hatchet, a Condor bushcraft knife, a shovel, and this is what I've come up with so far. As you can see, exactly how the pot hanger works. I've just used 2 Y sticks to make the stand, and if I wanted to make this higher, I would put another pot hanger here, but I think this is going to be sufficient. It's not going to be a large fire, but I just wanted to basically mention these are the things that you have to do when you bushcraft. Bushcraft is living off Mother Nature. Again, Mother Nature is going to provide you with every single thing you need. It will even provide you with a knife if you know how to make it out of a rock. So it's going to provide you with the shelter, all the grass, leaves. You can build a shelter out of that. Maybe 100, 200 yards further, there is a water source. I'm sure there's acorns, berries, something around here. But there are squirrels. I've heard them all day. And of course, there's plenty of wood to make fire. And another important thing is signaling. So I do have the flashlights and everything, but I just want to go ahead and I'm going to source some wood, and the tool that I'm going to be using is a Becker BK2. A Becker BK2. I'll be splitting wood as necessary. So let me harvest some wood and we can get us a fire going. Hey guys, well I've done everything ready to make a fire. You can take a look at the fire pit there. So all of this wood is wet, so I'm using some fat wood to ignite it. So let's see what happens. See if you can see. There we go. Again, the challenge of wet wood, but with the assistance of fat wood. All right, guys, what's in the pot is just some water that's going to be boiling. And again, you can see how well the pot hanger works. And I think this is probably one of the most popular notches, is the pot hanger. So guys, once again, this is just bushcrafting. So I'm going to tend to the fire, and when I get down to some coals, we'll be back to have us a quick meal. Well, you can see the fire finally it's making some coals. However, my food is already prepared. But again, guys, the wood is wet. It was a lot of effort to keep this fire going. Nevertheless, if you just build a fire slowly, split wood, you will eventually get all of that wet wood dry. But as a result of all of that, this is only my meal, which is ramen noodles. It really, as you can see, the steam is still coming up, but I have everything scattered: a saw, a shovel, hatchet, a knife, tri-sticks, and the pot hanger is over there. So I am going to have the remainder of this food, and I'm going to see you at the tea time or coffee. I'm not sure which one I have, but it would be one or the other. Well guys, the fire's stoked up again. The wood that is on there is birch. So I'm just boiling water for tea now. But I think I'll be able to burn all of this before I leave. Keep in mind that this wood was wet throughout, except the middle. But I just want to also let you know that the pot hanger is hardwood. It is not green wood, but it's preferable to use green wood. But it is hardwood. So I'm going to let the water boil, get a little warmer, and then I'll have some tea, and that would probably be it for me. The tea is good. So I'm just going to sit here and enjoy 2 cups of tea. I will see you guys afterwards. Portion of a root that was stripped with the vine or root stripper. Good for just removing the bark. As you can see in the coloration, how the bark is being removed off of the root. This is just an example. If you needed some cordage, so as a quick example, as you can tell the coloration difference, how the bark has been removed. So again, the notch that is used to remove vines, make vines into cordage or roots, vines into cordage or roots into cordage. I just want to give you that little example there. But quickly, again, L7 notch, the V notch, saddle notch, log cabin notch, rotation notch. Again, I think I gave them to you correctly. L7 notch, V notch, saddle notch, log cabin notch, rotation notch, and a splitter. All right, guys, that completes my practice for today. I'm going to wrap things up. Let me just show you quickly the tools that I did use today. Again, learning all your tools, learning how to use them efficiently. So quickly, let's swing hatchet, a Corona saw, a Condor Bushcraft knife, a Becker BK21 to do some splitting, of course a shovel to help with the fire pit, just a sitting pad, and gloves, and of course the gloves that I have on here, water. But the main object was actually making a okay, guys, so I'm going to start wrapping things up, and I'm going to see you before I trek out of here. All right, YouTubers, I am headed out. My practice session for today on notches to improve knife skills is over. It was enjoyable. I'm looking forward to the next session. So I just want to say thank you for coming along with me. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys again. And as always, like father and son, mother and daughter, human in nature, we are all of kin in some form or fashion. Get out in the bush and have some fun. This is the Virginia Bushcrafter signing off. Thank you.